Welcome to Digital Marketing ROI, the podcast that connects marketing to your business's revenue and covers everything you need to know to stay up to date in this crazy digital marketing world.
Digital Marketing ROI. I'm your host, Shannon Allen, here with my favorite person, Krystal, Vivian. I could say that in my sleep, couldn't I? How you doing today?
You could. Yeah, I bet you do probably.
I probably do. It's July. We are recording this early because I can take some vacation, but this will kick us off into July, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's a good hot month. It's a good time to enjoy vacation and enjoy time off and all the sunshine. But with the 4th of July, America's 250th birthday this
Yeah, it's a good
year.
lead in to this political conversation.
It's a really good lead in into the political. So we're already primed from that.
And let's be clear, this is not a political, are you left, are you right, what do you want? This is, I found a need. I talked to Krystal about it and I said, I want you to help me with this. We worked with clients on political, but there's an art to political advertising. And there has been so much money spent over my lifetime in traditional TV broadcast alone, right? Radio gets a little bit a piece, but the digital world, I would almost say digital is ahead of the game with so many businesses out there, but political took a lot longer to get to where candidates started to realize the value of social, the value of streaming, right? The midterms are projected to be the most expensive midterm in U.S. history, right? Over $10.8 billion in political ad spend. So I want to start there. Broadcast is shrinking, cable is collapsing. I want to lead into how we get messages, how we can target consumers. I'm not talking about national races, right? I'm talking about the local mayor race, the local that has to pass, the school board. How do you get your message out there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to kick it to you, and we're going to talk a little about politics today, but I promise it's not a fighting. It's being informed on how the political advertising works and what's your best bet and why you should work with FDS Political on this, right?
Absolutely. So let's set the stage. What's actually going on with this midterm cycle in 2026 and why is it the most expensive in history?
So I gave the number just under 11 billion. It was 10.84 is projected right now. I'm going to guess it's going to go higher. That is a 20% plus jump 2022 midterms. 8.9 billion. So near 2024 presidential, which was 11.2 billion. So I'm going to guess we're going to get like the 2024, which is crazy for midterms.
That's right? Crazy for midterms. Indiana, we had our primary in May. I know in Michigan, you have yours in August.
Yes.
The amount of money poured into our state Senate and state representative races was wild just for the primaries. And we're seeing
that's just Republicans fighting Republicans or Democrats fighting Democrats, right?
Yep.
We're in a different world, but there are a lot of things going on with midterms that hasn't happened in a long time, right? There's 35 Senate seats in play. There's special elections in Florida and Ohio. There's some really big swing states. I live in one of them. It's Michigan, right? So there's razor thin House majorities. Like there's more people retiring than ever before. So those are the bigger picture, but there's a lot more involved in that. So number one, those are the headline numbers. Number two is let's talk about where the money is going. So as I said, I feel like political is the last to realize that broadcast TV is only when you buy broadcast TV, we talk about viewership all the time. If you look at 100% piece of the pie, 50% is owned by streaming right now of viewership, and that's fragmented. Cable owns just under 20%, and then broadcast owns about 20%, but that's divided up with the big five, right? You got ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and a little bit of CW. So I met with somebody yesterday that was still running on Fox, and I said, you're only owning about 3% of viewership there. So for a political candidate or even a small contest to try to go local in their market, do you want to reach 3% or do you want to reach a targeted 50%, right?
Think about the demographics of who is watching the broadcast versus everybody's watching streaming.
Yeah. So right now, 49% is still going to broadcast, which doesn't equal viewership. This is where it's so confusing to me. It's down from 2024. Predictions are 49% broadcast TV when you have to buy a lot to even get a little, right? Cable is down 10% already predicted from 2024. We know that. The only growth channel is CTV. It's still not at where it should be. And this is why I saw a need to really help certain campaigns with understanding where they should be looking for that voter journey, right? We talk about the consumer journey. This is the voter journey. So right now we have sales teams in Michigan and Indiana, and because I think there's a value to showing local, we are national. We can run national. We can run any state we need to. It's where my sales team is going to be feet on the ground because I think there's value in walking into a local campaign location and saying, we can help you. So the Midwest piece is a big piece. Michigan alone is 1 billion plus projected this cycle during midterms. That's more than the entire country spent in 2006 midterm. That's crazy.
That's just 20 years ago.
I know.
That's crazy.
And we want to direct the money to be, you get the most bang for your buck. And this is where it becomes very strategic. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more in some of these questions, but we get to do a lot with digital that broadcast can't do.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what broadcast can't do, because for decades, it was the only place that a campaign would spend serious money. But why is it not working anymore?
I just always bring back to viewership, right? If you look at a piece of pie, streaming in January was at 47 to 49% of viewership. And granted, those are multiple platforms, but if you buy it programmatically, you have the ability to be very targeted of who you're going after. We're closer to 50% now. So again, just take a piece of the pie. Do you want to reach 50% viewership? Or do you want to reach 20% of broadcast? Oh, and by the way, you have to go out and buy every single network that you want to be on, right?
So that's 5 different people that you have to deal with to only get 20% of the audience.
Exactly. And still not targeted. You can say, I want to be on the news, right? So does everybody. So rates are different then. YouTube alone is 12.5% of TV viewing out of that 50%. YouTube alone is beating out broadcasts, any network individually. And by the way, we're talking about US households that are 60% plus. I think that number is even higher, that use streaming as their primary TV source and how they consume content, right? From an entertainment or a news specific. So we are talking about really big numbers here. So that's number one. Go where the viewers are. It's a brilliant, where's the voter journey? Where's the consumer journey at? Where are we spending most of our time? It is not broadcast anymore. Number two, the lowest unit rate trap. So the FCC requires broadcast stations to give candidates their lowest commercial rate before elections, okay? I worked enough years in radio to know when radio, it doesn't get as big of a pie, but I had to be very careful what my rate was. So if I gave a customer a really low rate because I was trying to get them in and I was trying to have rate integrity, but I gave them one deal, I have to match that rate. So there's a lot of things going on. It sounds like a win. You get the lowest rate, but it's limited inventory. We tell our clients all the time, if you're buying TV right now and it's an election year, you're probably going to get bumped because somebody's going to outbid you at some point. So candidates also have that problem, is they're going to get bumped if somebody like Menards comes in and says, oh no, I want my inventory where I'll pay the higher rate. So a broadcast has to legally give you the lowest rate. It doesn't mean they have to legally run you there. So it's a trap. So at 5 a.m. Saturday spot you bought may never air. And who wants to be 5 a.m. on a Saturday?
And that's the thing, is that if they're broadcasting it at 5 a.m. on a Saturday, how many people, of that 3% of people who are watching that broadcast channel that you're on, how many people are actually seeing that one ad?
That one ad. And it's not targeted. Cable has a little bit more targeting capabilities than broadcast, but broadcast is, do you want to be on the news? Do you want to be on the weather spot? You're guessing it, and you need a lot. You need a lot, high frequency, a lot of spots, okay? When it comes to CTV, we don't come up against the lowest unit rate trap, right? They call it an LUR. CTV can do whatever they want. They can sell you the rate. And here's the good news. The rate is a rate. We don't give different rates for political than we give to the local dentist, to the local credit union. We all are paying the same rates, and that's the way it should be. And then you're buying impressions, and we know we can deliver. It's not like buying live sports where you only have Monday Night Football to run those impressions and then you're limited and you better buy it before it's gone. That's how broadcast lives. I don't have to live in there. I'm not limited to inventory. I have a plethora when it comes to the programmatic buy, right?
So you choose your impressions, and then you'll actually see in the reporting how many people were served that ad or how many
And
devices were served.
I get to be really strategic. Isn't a political campaign all about strategy? When you are buying broadcasts, they call it spray and pray. You buy a designated market area, a DMA, and you just hope your viewers are watching. You just hope. It's like yesterday when I talked to a shoe company that specializes in orthotics and they do all these amazing things and they're buying Fox and they're praying that somebody watching that Fox station during American Idol wants to buy their shoes. And it's the same thing for a candidate. You hope you can convince somebody, but let's stop doing that. So this worked in 1996. It's not going to work in 2026.
No, absolutely
So
not.
those are the main things about broadcast that I want anybody that's running a political campaign to remember.
So let's talk a little bit more about what CTV is actually able to do and a little bit more of the targeting. Why is this the smarter buy in 2026 for political campaigns?
So number one, anything to do with digital has digital capabilities. And for the sake of this podcast, I'm talking mainly about streaming versus broadcast. There are a lot of other elements that we can do. You've been digging into the rules and regulations. There's a lot of regulations we have to comply with. Political in itself you have to be compliant. And so we make sure, number one, with CTV, that we're compliant in everything we do. But here's the benefit that we have that broadcast will never bring. We can match your voter file to a streaming household. We can serve ads only to registered Republicans in one district if we wanted to. We can take a list that they're using and target that through addressable geofencing. We can go after undecided independents in a swing precinct, right? One candidate that, let's say they are a Republican candidate, but they're more in the middle, they are like, I got the Republican vote, but what I need is women, Democrats that have children. We can do that. Broadcast will never do that. Right?
Yep.
We have that speed and creative flexibility. Broadcast 2-week minimum insertion orders. You get preempted. You have locked rates. Programmatic is update creative and targeting in near real time. You got another video for me? You want to run a different one this week than last week, this weekend versus if you've
Yep.
got the content, I can run with it.
And you can have multiple creatives going at once. I think back again, the May primary, the amount of mail that we got, mailers from campaigns, from our highly contested local races here. I know we're on lists. I know what lists we're on because we get all the mail. How much more impactful it would have been for those candidates to, instead of sending us pieces in the mail that we ignored, to show us a non-skippable ad in front of the TV show that we were streaming that night, right?
Yes.
And telling that
Yes.
story. We actually did not see very many streaming ads. We saw a few, but we did not see very many streaming ads for candidates in the primaries. We should have. We absolutely should have. It's a huge missed opportunity for campaigns that are not investing in CTV.
And let's think about how politics works. It's a headline every day. Something's changing every day. And so in broadcast, you're just locked in and you're just going after the masses. And CTV, you can be like, you know what? My audience, I'm realizing I need the younger audience. Maybe I'm going to pull out of this, or I'm going to select this, or I'm going to use Meta. We have those opportunities. So I want to say we can reach beyond the CTV streaming as well. We have that full stack. That's why we're FDS Political. We specialize in digital, but we also know how to go after a strategy of a very specific audience. So we can do addressable display, which is more affordable. Maybe you're the local mayor race, you don't have as much money. You don't have the money to run that, but you want to follow consumers wherever they're at. Display has the best conversion rate because it's trackable, it's more affordable, right? We can do paid search, we have Meta, we can do YouTube pre-roll, right? We have all these extra tactics that traditional doesn't ever offer. Everything that we do on the vertical of FDS Political is we're the experts in digital strategy. Politics is a strategic game. So don't use caveman basic marketing to get your name out there.
And partnering with somebody who actually understands the platforms that people are using and can deliver your message to the right people in a targeted way is really powerful. Let's bring it home to FDS Political. Talk to us about why we have this division, why expertise and credibility matter so much for a digital agency in the political space.
I originally built this because I've kind of stayed away from political over the years. I'll take it if it comes to me. I'm not out searching for it. But I realize I am already the expert in the political space because we do strategy from day one. Everything we do is following the consumer journey. And in this case, we're following the consumer through the voter journey. And that's why the most critical months really are August, September, October as we lead into midterms. And so you don't need to be doing this year round. You just need a very specific plan. So you want to hit the ground running. That's why it's July now. We need a game plan now. You need a game plan now. But politics works a lot with I'm going to pivot at any moment. So you're never too late to the game. I also built it because I come from Michigan and I know how critical Michigan is right now. We sit in the border of Michigan and Indiana, but we're here for anybody. It doesn't just have to be Michigan or Indiana. But it, to me, the reason why we really are rolling this out now and just talking about it is because I really think we can help a lot of campaigns out there. We're the experts at this. We know the rules. We're making sure you're compliant. We take the thinking out of it. You have everything set up so it's turnkey. And we're not here to talk to you about traditional. We're just here to talk to you about your digital strategy. So we work with candidates, federal, state, local. We work with PACs and ballot committees. We can help party committees at county and state level. We can do issue groups. So everybody has grant money. Everybody has campaign money. They have the money to get out for the school board, the county commission, the judicial races, right? These are often underserved by traditional agencies that don't even know where to begin. And the traditional agencies trying to put you in all traditional buying cycles. So really, to me, that's where we're at.
Yeah. And you get the high level strategy and the service of an extension of your team. It's not just a media buy where it's like, okay, I'm placing this order and I'm walking away, right? It's the strategy. It's me and my team on the campaign side, just making sure that we're hitting the right messaging to the right people. And I come from a political background. I come from news. I come from
Yeah.
newspaper.
I think I said I want you to help me with this one.
I know. I was excited.
Yeah, and let's be clear. I'm diving right into your question about ROI, but I can even ask you. You see the value of this. You're my director of the campaign team. You understand that the reporting that we can bring to them and show them is something they're not getting with anything else right now.
Oh, absolutely. To truly understand the voter journey, I think is an incredible way to frame it. And people are at different levels, right? You have some people who are always going to vote for the Republican or always going to vote for the Democrat. You have people who are swing voters they're going to vote split ticket down the way. You have people who are really mad about their current party and might be motivated to vote the other way. It all depends on your candidacy and your strategy and what you're doing. But being able to match your marketing to your strategy and then actually seeing it in the reporting is really impactful because we can show you exactly how many devices, how many impressions, what platforms were you delivered on. And we know that every impression is a near 100% completion rate because it's non-skippable inventory. So it's incredibly impactful. But I want you to answer it too, Shannon. So what is the ROI of working with a strategic digital agency on your political advertising?
You just basically covered it for me. I can literally show you, I can take your spend, show you who we reached, show you how often we reach them. I can show you if they've come back to your website. We also can pull it in real time. We don't usually report out weekly to clients, but this is something in political. We understand that they might need us to pull and see how things are performing because we might need to pivot partway through. You don't get that with anything else. So that alone has return on investment. It will be your blueprint to tell you what's going on that you can't get out of a survey. We can be like, what's working good? You can do A/B testing. You can have two different types. You can have a negative type of campaign that's running or a positive and see which one's performing better. You don't get that across the board in real time. So that ROI in itself is it's money spent on wherever the consumer is as they decide who they're going to vote for.
And the actual data, I think, is so incredible. And like you said, to A/B test and to be able to pivot on a dime.
Yes.
If you're relying on broadcast, then that means that the only data that you're getting is polling data that comes out on a regular basis that you don't control.
Exactly. And that in itself is ROI. So we know the midterms are going to test a lot of things going out. We'll probably all be exhausted by the time second week of November rolls around. First week of November, right?
Yeah.
But this was fun. I'm excited to leap into this and jump into this and see how we can help a lot of campaigns out there. And we don't care if you're what party you are. We just
No.
want to help you.
We just want to help with the strategy and understand that it's about reaching the people that you want to reach. And it's not about ideology for us. It's about really helping make a difference.
It is. Well, thanks, Krystal, for today. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. And tune in to our next episode of Digital Marketing ROI.
You've been listening to Digital Marketing ROI from Federated Digital Solutions. Do you have an idea for a future episode or a burning digital marketing question? Text ROI to 45364 to get a link where you can share your idea. Subscribe to get new episodes every other Thursday, plus Tip Tuesday insights every week.
Podcasts by Federated Media.